Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today, and we're live. Last week, I got back into the swing of things. Honestly, we hadn't had a live show in about 3 weeks. I'm really hoping I can get together with my good buddy Jeremy, and we can get a live stream going back off the ground. It is so much more fun doing the live streams. With somebody, being able to kind of like casually debate, have a conversation. But we've been doing this, just making live videos for basically 15 years, 16 years, I guess. So it isn't really anything. It's just, kind of like if you go through all four matches, most of the time this takes about 45 minutes. So it's kind of hard. But last week, of all my time making videos, I think mostly just because it was a live stream, I just stumbled out of the gate and it was horrible. I thought that I was just doing a regular video. I was gonna hit the button and just be like, we're just doing it over again. Hey, what is up, everybody? And then right there, hit me right like it was an in your house, free for all. We're live, pal. When Sid's trying to, redo his promo. But right before we started the live stream, I was about to get going, sitting down here in the seat, and I just casually remembered that I was supposed to do my girlfriend a favor, and I was supposed to take the laundry out. I was supposed to put laundry in. If I wouldn't have done that, oh gee willikers, I would have been taken to the woodshed. We're gonna sit down today and we're gonna talk about WWE's Royal Rumble 2026. It's gonna be coming to you live from Saudi Arabia. When we talk about this, we talk a lot about the headlines that are out there in the world of wrestling. I know everybody reads them just like I do. It's part of being a wrestling fan. It's a part of being a part of this soap opera. This all is, you get swayed. You're just sitting there at work trying to get your stuff done. You read a headline, and all of a sudden you get mad. Then you get mad to the point that it's like, well, I got to see this crap. I want to see what's going down. And the biggest storyline about this year's Royal Rumble is that it's going to be taking place live over in Saudi Arabia. I covered this a lot when I talked about WrestleMania going to be going there in WrestleMania 43 when they made the announcement. There's a lot of people out there that get upset about the people of Saudi Arabia and how they're just buying up Royal Rumbles, WrestleManias. They basically get 2 pay-per-views a year. Now, it would be nice if those pay-per-views were ran in our town and we were able to go down, like for me, to go to the Golden One Arena and be able to see those. But if you really think about the shows that they run there, for so long they were like glorified house shows. Now they're kind of turning into like real PLEs. The last one that was over there wasn't that Punk versus John Cena. I think that was the King and Queen of the Ring, if I'm close. I'm not really 100% sure. I think that was the last time that they went over there. But for the longest time, they got good matches, but all in all, those matches really didn't mean anything all in the long run. Now, here we are in the nitty-gritty. They're buying up a Royal Rumble, they're buying a WrestleMania, they're pretty much cutting in line. I got no problem. If WWE's making money, I understand. There's a lot of people out there that want to go to WrestleMania. I feel bad for the people of New Orleans. They got their WrestleMania taken away after they got it announced and handed to them. The one that people really don't talk about is there was that headline that Indianapolis paid for 3 major events over 3 years. They got their SummerSlam, they got their Royal Rumble. No one's talking about when the WrestleMania is going to Indianapolis. It's kind of like it just got taken away. And I don't know if they're just trying to be like, hey, we'll have like a big Monday Night Raw there. Or they aren't even getting told like, hey, you're going to get like Money in the Bank or one of these other ones. I guess once you have a Royal Rumble, once you have a SummerSlam, there's really no going back to Backlash or Halloween Havoc or anything like that kind of along the way. But Saudi Arabia, where they're having it, I guess it's going to be a new arena. And about a month ago, they started work on the arena that's going to host the Royal Rumble. And a lot of the headlines were like, what are these people doing? Um, they don't even have anything put together. And within like 3 weeks, that thing was built. I don't know if it's going to be a full-time arena or if they're going to be taking it down after the Royal Rumble, or if it's going to stay up and maybe this is where WrestleMania is going to be next year. I don't really know what their plans are, but they got to work and they really put that thing up really, really fast. As a wrestling fan, I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, too long. I've had my ups, I've had my downs, but the Royal Rumble is like the start of a new season for WWE. I know a lot of people say the calendar starts the day after WrestleMania. There's some wrestling fans that just come back for that Royal Rumble to WrestleMania start. But I'll tell you the truth, like the stories always go, just like Untold was saying, is like there's no end to the schedule. This is a 365 job. There's a Monday Night Raw, there's a SmackDown. 52 weeks a year. They do the PLEs on average about every month. But to me, honestly, the Royal Rumble is when they kick it into gear. WWE, to me, now they've had 2 really good Monday Night Raws in a row. They had a really good SmackDown a few weeks ago with the title change between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. But as a whole, as in like getting me to care about the entire roster, where I'm about to have 2 matches involving 60 superstars. I'm going to have to know who everybody is as they come out. I know that we'll get a few returning legends. I know that we're going to get some people from NXT, but as a whole, I would say 25, 26 superstars should be on the main roster, on Raw, on SmackDown, and they did nothing to tell the story. I understand that, nobody wants to see Kane versus JTG and the winner qualifies for the Royal Rumble. But we went through that for years and we sat there and they rang the bell like, oh man, I wonder who's going to qualify for this match here. Kane is going up against a tag team wrestler and Kane wins. And we all kind of look at it like, yeah, it is what it is. So they moved away from that. But this year, Men's Royal Rumble? Do you think there's like 3 names that WWE's telling you has a shot to win this thing? I mean, I guess it's Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, or Obi Femi. And that's basically all that they push. I think that Jey Uso talked about the Royal Rumble in a promo like 2 weeks ago. And a lot like the women's roster, Jey Uso was on Raw this week, and the only thing that he mentioned, the only thing that he cared about was defending the tag titles against the winner of the Fatal 4-Way. No mention of getting this Rumble going back to back. We've known he's thrown his hat in the ring. About a month ago, he took a step back in his career, and he's saying that he is going to focus on being a tag team guy so he can move forward. He kind of like built up too much pressure on himself as a singles wrestler after losing the World Heavyweight title, and he wanted to refine himself. Well, you refound yourself basically in the mid card, and we don't even know what's holding it up for you. I mean, like, I don't get it. I mean, if you're not Cody Rhodes, if you're not Roman Reigns, or even Obi Femi, who's coming up from NXT, because his name is written in blue on his little promo that they've been running, it makes me think he's going to SmackDown. If they want to make this guy a real star, whether if he's like high mid card, whether they think he's going to be main event, they need to put him on Raw. I mean, that's the only way, you're going to get looked at as somebody that they really care about. If you're following along, like Damian Priest, was a main event guy, world heavyweight champion, leader of the Judgment Day. Had really good feuds on Monday Night Raw. The second he went to SmackDown, we all thought that he was going to be a big fish in a small pond, and that guy sank. We forgot about him. That's God honest, the only way there is to do it. His number one contenders match that he had at Saturday night's main event, that Sami Zayn won. That's the closest that he's been to a championship belt in a long time. He's had this Aleister Black feud that honestly has gone on for months and months and months. You look over at the women's Royal Rumble, they they barely mentioned anything about it. And if you're watching Monday Night Raw, every single woman wants to be involved in a tag team, and they seem like they care more about the tag titles than anything else in WWE. You've got Io Sky, Rhea Ripley as the champion. You've got Judgment Day with Liv Morgan, as well as Roxanne Perez. You can kind of switch in Raquel Rodriguez. She's going after the championship. She's actually going to be getting a championship shot next week. Next week, they're not even hanging around in Saudi Arabia. They said that Raw is going to be in Philadelphia. So, that's a lot of travel. Toronto, Saudi Arabia to the Philly, all in 7 days, just trying to get this show, up off the ground. That's crazy. But, all of these people are going there. They're picking up this bag, and, that's going to be huge for them. But we had a little bit in the back where they talked about the Royal Rumble for the women's, and it was like Becky Lynch, and then they got ran up on by Asuka and Kairi Sane, with Kairi Sane saying that Becky Lynch better be watching out, for Asuka to win the Rumble. I don't know. I mean, the Asuka storyline kind of makes sense, but Becky Lynch definitely not winning the Rumble. So this year, as a whole, the Royal Rumble matches, I don't even know if they should main event the show. I think that honestly, you could have a Royal Rumble match, like we start with the women's Royal Rumble. You go to the Sami Zayn match. You go to the men's Rumble. I think this year there is more people caring about AJ Styles versus Gunther than anything else that is going on in WWE. It's a very, very weird year. So let's get this rolling. Let's start talking about the show a little bit. I'm going to flip over. I'm going to look at the actual match card, because weird that Finn Balor goes in and he says he's declaring for the Royal Rumble on Monday Night Raw, and he gets told that the Rumble is full, even though we haven't had 30 people saying that they're going to be in it. So there better be a lot of surprises right off the bat. But if we're looking at the women's Royal Rumble match, we got to start by looking at who the champions are, who we're building up to have matches against. As of right now, on the Monday Night Raw brand, it is Stephanie Vakir, who holds the Monday Night Raw women's champion, and I am drowning right now. I'm going to look this up, and I'm going to be so freaked. Oh, it's Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill holds the SmackDown's championship. I don't think I've seen her defend it, honestly, since she's won it. But as of right now, we're looking at it's definitely less than 20 names that have been here. We're looking at Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bayley, Lyra Valkyrie, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Jordan Grace, Becky Lynch, Chelsea Green, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Julia and Maxine Dupree, have all, thrown their hat in the ring and declared for this year's Royal Rumble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we've got 13 more names to grab onto. I know that it's been a little bit of a dream. I think we all remember AJ Lee coming back to WWE. In my mind, I think she just wrestled in that mixed tag with CM Punk against Becky and Seth Rollins. Is that the only match that she's been in? I know that she showed up on Monday Night Raw and she helped Maxine Dupree in her feud against Becky Lynch. The word was that she signed a full-time deal to WWE. You would think that definitely before WrestlePalooza, she would have got herself into the best ring shape that she could have. I don't know if she's on a book tour. It seems like she's doing a lot of like conventions, doing autograph shows and taking pictures with fans. I don't know when she's coming back to wrestling, and is she like I was gonna say Trish Stratus, but Trish, like when she comes back, it seems like she really likes doing it. She wrestles the Raws, she does SmackDown, she does PLEs. It used to just be that like she would show up and she would wrestle on a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania, almost like for the big payday, just to add one more big name to the show. But like the last few times that she's been around, she's been a lot like what Nikki Bella has been, that she's on the show and she's on the show for real. Nikki Bella is a name that I would throw in that I think is going to be in there. You would think that AJ Lee is a name to be in there, but I'm guessing that the winner of this would be going up against Stephanie Vicaire. But there is a lot of time. There's, the Elimination Chamber in February. They love to change championships on Monday Night Raw to make those shows on Netflix almost to the point of, you can't miss this. That's how they that's how they mixed it up with the whole Bianca, EO, and Rhea Ripley for WrestleMania 41. It was the night after the Elimination Chamber when Rhea Ripley gave EO Sky a championship shot. So you can't really look at who is the champion right now and just be like, oh, okay, the winner is going to do this. Even though normally, when you win the Royal Rumble, the two champions come down and you have like a face-off inside of the ring, and then we come back on either Raw or SmackDown, and the winner declares, what belt that they want to go for. I had been thinking all year that Rhea Ripley against EO Sky was the biggest match that they were building to. The last time they had a singles match, it was at Evolution. It was busted up by Naomi, and Naomi ended up making it a three-way with her Money in the Bank briefcase, and then she ended up winning the championship. And she didn't get to ride off into the sunset and have the greatest storyline of all time because of her pregnancy. But it definitely is a moment that I think a lot of people are going to remember. They put it on WWE Unreal as one of the major storylines of season 2. But right now, I don't really understand how you get to Rhea versus EO. The way that they're putting all these women into tag teams and they're really building up this, I think they know they have a lot of really good women on the roster, and I think they want to make sure they get a majority of them on the WrestleMania show. They don't want to do like the Mae Young or the other one, Battle Royal for the Miss WrestleMania trophy or whatever the heck they've called it in the past. There's been a few different little gimmicks that they've done. I think they're building up to do like a tag title. I'd be crazy to think it would be a ladder match. I know that it would be something awesome that I think a lot of the women would go out of their way to really put something out there, that would be awesome. The names that they're giving, the best storyline that I can think of is picking Liv Morgan of the Judgment Day. Liv Morgan, watching the show right now with Raquel Rodriguez getting the shine, going after the championship. She's got a shot on Monday against Stephanie Vakir. Liv Morgan has been wrestling in a tag team with Roxanne Perez, saying that they want to go after the tag title. So she's not even the main focus of Judgment Day right now, even though she's kind of in that, is it Liv, is it Finn leadership role of, pushing each other. I thought that with Liv coming back after her injury, Liv and Finn would be able to bury their problems and just sort of like put the Judgment Day into the right direction. But after seeing on Monday, her riling up Finn, even though it looked like he, it took a step towards being a babyface and leaving the Judgment Day behind and listening to CM Punk, I guess that's not what it's going to be. So I'm picking Liv Morgan to win the Royal Rumble. A lot of times when you do these, there's 30 women inside of this match. If you put a little asterisk next to Liv, Liv is my definite winner. If I was walking into the Westgate and I was going to the, what did they call it? The Mega Sports Book, Super Sports Book, whatever it was. If I walked up to the window and they were taking bets on wrestling, I would put, a majority of my money on Liv Morgan to win the Rumble. As a little asterisk, it's something that I want to get a little bit of action on just to be able to, see if I could back up my winnings if that didn't happen. I would want to see Roxanne Perez maybe be forced to eliminate Liv. The Judgment Day never gets along. The Judgment Day is always one-upping each other. And, the second that Liv Morgan stepped away and Roxanne filled that role, everybody was waiting for Roxanne and Dom to start something. And they never really pulled the trigger on it. With her always making her chicken nuggets. I guess Liv Morgan is the queen of chicken tendies. So Roxanne Perez didn't even try. But I think Roxanne Perez taking a step forward is saying she's the leader of the Judgment Day, and Raquel and Liv are going to have to listen to her, or if not, just going off on her own. That would be freaking awesome. Roxanne is somebody that I don't think they're just putting in matches on Monday Night Raw to, get experience. I think it's somebody that they really trust and they believe in can, get their job done. So I think Roxanne Perez is somebody that the booking committee, Triple H, whatever you want to call it, really believes in. And I think she's going to be a real future of WWE. So, I might not put as much money as I put on Liv Morgan to win the Rumble, but I think that she would be the best. Let's see what we got here. The biggest nerd won. I feel like there is barely no hype for the Rumble this year. That's very true. I talked about that at the very beginning. It seems like on Monday Night Raw, speaking of the women's division, everybody cares about being in a tag team, going after the tag titles. I don't know if they're building to something. That might be like a WrestleMania or maybe Elimination Chamber. We've done Elimination Chamber tag matches in the past. I think it was back in 2016. The New Day won the match. I don't really remember who else was in there. I'm guessing the Usos would have been in there. Maybe the Bludgeon Brothers were in WWE at that time. I remember that because of their alliance with Triple H and Stephanie. What the heck did they call them? The it was the what was that group called? They called them something. The Powers? No. Shoot. 10 years ago. Just because of their alliance with Triple H and Stephanie, they got to have 3 members inside of the chamber to everybody else's 2, which didn't really make it that true. But yeah, it just seems that WWE, they went on Christmas break. When they came back from Christmas break, all of a sudden they were like, oh, shoot, Saturday night's main event is in 2 weeks. Royal Rumble is in 3 weeks. They chose to like push everything to make sure everybody goes to Peacock to watch Saturday night's main event. That's kind of it's not a brand new alliance that they have there, but they don't want to lose that deal, even if it's only 4 shows a year. That's money coming in. So they had to go to that, and then they flip over to the Royal Rumble, and it's almost an afterthought. If it's not AJ versus Gunther, a storyline that's been going on for about a month, there's really nothing going on. So from there, we're going to move over. We're going to look at the WWE Championship match, which is Sami Zayn going up against Drew McIntyre. Sami Zayn, he won the Fatal 4-Way on Saturday night's main event. It was the main event of the show. They were in Montreal. Sami, last time they were in Montreal, his hometown, we all thought that Sami had a chance to beat Roman Reigns for the undisputed title. Then, of course, that would have set up the winner of the Royal Rumble versus Sami Zayn. They even did a segment on Raw where it was Cody and Sami talking about what if this match has to happen. And, it was a fun chance to be. I don't see Sami Zayn as a guy walking into WrestleMania as WWE champion. I don't not like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, the person, is a very good guy. Sami Zayn, the wrestler, is a very good wrestler. This character of Sami Zayn that has been wrestling since 39, to me, has geek written all over him, and that's coming from one of the biggest geeks that there is in the world. Sami, to me, like since WrestleMania 39, is just the aged veteran. He's hanging his hat on, I main evented WrestleMania 39. Me and Kevin Owens, we wrestled the Usos night 1. We won the WWF tag titles. We took the titles off of a tag team that had held those titles for 2+ years. And, he did go to WrestleMania and he beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. He went to SummerSlam this year and he beat, Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship and didn't even want it. But then he chose to defend it. He said open challenges until he was defeated by Dragunov, who's been having a great run inside of WWE. He lost the match to Carmelo, where he dropped the title. He was in the matches to go to the number 1 contenders match, but I think he lost to Sami Zayn in that match to like even up their deal 1-1. I don't think there's any real big story to this match other than Sami Zayn, his quest to be champion. He doesn't care if he's WWE champion, doesn't care if he's world heavyweight champion, just wants to be seen as a main event player in WWE because he's stacking things like he's going to be, making his Hall of Fame plaque that'll hang on the wall someday. People love going and looking at the records. Sami Zayn has never beat Drew McIntyre. The fact that that's not an internet story, the fact that that's a WWE story scares me because of the fact that Sami is one of the few guys that has won in his hometown. They're going to Riyadh, over there. I talked about this in my video the other day. I don't really know the story, and I wish I knew exactly where to go and look it up. Maybe if I watch the pre-show leading up to the Royal Rumble, maybe they'll talk about it. But when WWE first started going to Saudi Arabia, I think it was because of Sami Zayn's ties to Syria. He was not going. And now Sami Zayn goes, and he's looked at as one of the biggest baby faces in WWE on their main roster. Saudi Arabia loves Sami Zayn because of the fact that they had a few shows there and he didn't go. you would think that the fans there would boo him. But I didn't really get to go into it in the opening. But like, I think it's cool for the Saudi Arabian people to get these shows. I'm not one who's going to throw the flag and say, like, they deserve to go other places. It's, it's bad blood money that WWE is getting. This is one of the biggest sponsors. This is one of the biggest cash grabs that WWE has. It's the reason why if you go on your stock app on your iPhone or wherever it is, and you type in TKO and you look at that stock, it is up. It's one of my best ones. I was looking at silver earlier. Let's see, TKO. All right, we're down 2% today, but if you look over the last year, it's up 25%. If you look up over the last 2 years, it's up 140%. If you look over the last 5 years, it's up 253%. I remember when I first started getting back into stocks, when I first started getting into stocks and talking to my buddies Justin and Mike, and I was like, I bought WWE stock today. And they were like, well, at least you're buying something that it's something that you believe in. I don't think they thought that it'd probably be one of the biggest wins that I have in my stock portfolio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's number 10. It's the 10th biggest thing that I hold in my portfolio is TKO stock, and it's easily been one of the biggest winners that I have. They know what they're doing to make money, but the people of Saudi Arabia don't sit on their hands. They love wrestling. I don't know if they love every sport that goes there with the golf and the racing and everything else. They're trying to show that their country is just like us across the board. I think that they really deserve this. When I look at this match, the build to this is two different ways. Drew McIntyre needs to fight Cody Rhodes because he lost the championship to him. Drew McIntyre needs to fight against Jacob Fatu because he screwed him out of that number one contenders match. He beat him up in the back and he kicked his teeth in, and Jacob wasn't able to wrestle on the main roster for like 2 months. He took him out of action. That's the reason why Jacob showed up during that 3 stages of hell match. It doesn't matter if, Drew was still in a match. Drew was about to win a match. Jacob wanted to fight him because that was the first chance Jacob had to get at him. And that's why Cody versus Jacob should have been a number one contenders match where the winner of that gets the fight against Drew at the Royal Rumble. That honestly would have made a lot more sense to me. So there's no win-win here in Sammy getting it. So this match here is another road bump for Sami Zayn. Someday he might be WWE champion. Someday he might be what's the other one? World Heavyweight Champion on Monday Night Raw. It's just not going to be today. I like Sami Zayn as a wrestler. I don't really like this character. I'm hoping they can find some way. If they would have added a little bit of a gray to him, if he would have won the Money in the Bank and he would have turned on Jey Uso, or not even turned on him, just been forced to cash in like, I'm the Money in the Bank. Why would I not take a chance if somebody came down and beat up Jey Uso and Sammy's standing there with the briefcase? Yeah, that's your friend, but he's the champion. You got the golden ticket. You got to cash it in. Other than that, like the few chances where Sammy was just staring at Jey like he wanted to do something or he could have done something and didn't do it, geek. That's the only way that I can think about it. So I'm picking Drew to win this match. I think he's one of the best guys that there is out there. My buddy over here, Kurt Edwards, 1626. He's backing me up. He basically says the same exact thing. He doesn't think that he's not buying Sami Zayn. He's just not my favorite dude. Like I said, like He's a great wrestler. He was one of my favorite guys when I was getting into Ring of Honor with El Generico. He was a really good guy to be there when he was in NXT. I cheered for him when he won the championship from Neville. I felt bad for him when he got cashed in against Kevin Owens. He never was able to get the championship back before he left to go to the main roster. He had a lot of good runs. You know, him versus Kevin Owens, the million times that they did it, all of those were awesome matches. I thought that it wasn't great, but that whole like what was that storyline where he was like kind of dressed up like he was in Vietnam, but he was all kind of like thinking he had the documentary crew with him, that there was some sort of conspiracy against them. I never really got that. The match against Jackass isn't great. I'm not going to watch it all the time, but him versus Johnny Knoxville was fun. That was a good break in WrestleMania. I think that was WrestleMania 38. But somewhere when he got together with Kevin Owens for WrestleMania 39 after he left the Bloodline, it just didn't work for me. Oh shoot, what am I doing here? I was trying to use the mouse here that goes to my girlfriend's computer, not mine. But yeah. X Aries, I'm going to come back to your comment. Oh, you picked Liv to win the thing. I picked Liv as well. I'm hoping for Roxanne to stab her in the back, but I'll get to you with your Royal Rumble pick once we get to it. We got to cover, honestly, the main event to me. If I was to book this show, I think I'd put AJ Styles versus Gunther as the main event. It definitely is the one thing that they pushed harder than ever. So we're going to look at the men's Rumble coming up next. Very funny that on Monday Night Raw, you know, Finn Balor goes in to the GM's office and, you know, he's had a heartfelt experience ever since the match against CM Punk. And he declares for the Rumble, and Adam Pearce says, can't do it. We just saw Adam Pearce in the ring minutes ago give 4 spots away. Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. If you look at the list right now, I believe there's 13 names. Who are the other 17? We've got Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Penta, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Javon Evans, and Obafemi. You know, who are these other 17 people? Is there 17 people that are going to announce on NXT tonight that they're going to be in the Rumble? You know, people from SmackDown that are going to be there? I don't understand. I mean, that's the reason why they had Finn snap, go out there, beat up AJ, beat up CM Punk. I guess he was going after Punk more than he was going after AJ. He just had to break up that match because if he can't win the Royal Rumble, he needs to get a championship shot some way. So he needs to stab CM Punk in the back to where now Punk wants to fight him. But is Finn Balor the smartest man in wrestling? Okay, get me here. You go to the Royal Rumble. You compete. You have a 1 in 30 shot. The later your number is, the better your odds are to win because there's less people that are going to be fresh getting into the Rumble. You win the Rumble, you go to WrestleMania. Finn breaks up a match in the main event of Monday Night Raw. Doesn't have to compete in the Royal Rumble. The way I'm looking at it, he's either going to be named to have a match against Punk on Raw the Monday after the Rumble, which is in Philadelphia, or they'll put the match together and then it'll be the next week. So instead of being on, you know, February 2nd, it'll be on February 9th. And he'll get a one-on-one shot. Now, if you go to WrestleMania and, you know, you have a WWE or a World Heavyweight shot, you know, you're going to be, you know, used on Raw pretty exclusively. You're going to be on the WrestleMania match t-shirt. So you're probably going to get some more, extra merch money that way. It's a match that's going to be remembered because it's WrestleMania. But if your goal is just to be champion, aren't you going to get a championship a shot any way you can? He's going to be able to wrestle Punk on Raw for the title, and he doesn't have to compete against 30 other guys. I don't know. I think if Finn is going to win out, even if he doesn't get to be in the Rumble, the long way. I other than just coming down and beating up Tozawa. I'm sorry, Tozawa. You just won a match. You're the number one contender to the tag championships. But for the longest time, you were the lowest ranked guy on the WWE video games. But, if he just went down there and beat him up, I think somebody beat up Tozawa last year. Oh, and that's how Speed got in there. Okay. Carmelo got eliminated as he was walking out. Tozawa was walking in, and Carmelo just beat him up just to beat him up. At that point, they came and checked on Tozawa, and they sent Speed in there. And that's how Speed got into the Rumble, to be able to be speared and laid out by Braun Breaker. So if they're going to do that for 2 years in a row, Tozawa comes out for his number, whatever the number that would be, and then Finn beats him up from behind. And then, remember when, it was Lana got laid out in the Women's Rumble, and then Becky came out and she was begging to go in since she couldn't go in. And it was finally Fit Finlay. I haven't seen Fit Finlay as an agent in WWE in a long time. That might have been one of the last times that I've seen him. I hope that he's still with the company. He was really, really good, and everybody always said him and Dustin Rhodes, when they were in WWE, were two of the reason why the women's division was starting to get so much better in 2015 and 2016, because they would work with the women's wrestlers so much. But I don't know. Is that a storyline that they want to run every year, waiting for somebody who's disgruntled about not being, invited or not announcing that they want to be in the Rumble in enough time to be able to do it? Here we go. Let's just start at the bottom. Obafemi, brand new in WWE. I think that they're giving him a big rollout. They're putting him on the main roster in his, I guess this is his debut, because they didn't really count the Saturday night's main event, John Cena goodbye party, as debuts or call-ups. This is his call-up. So this is when he officially joins the roster. We don't know if it's Raw or SmackDown yet. I just know that his name is written in blue. That's what maybe thinks he's going to SmackDown. I don't see him winning the Rumble and having a match against Drew McIntyre. I don't see him having a match against CM Punk. I think that he is at to crawl his way up, win an Intercontinental title, win a United States title, before he just flat out, I'm a main eventer. There's a lot of people who watch NXT that think he is a main event guy. They'd say that he has one of the most eccentrics, eccentric ring entrances in WWE. I don't know. I haven't seen him enough. I didn't even think the match against Cody Rhodes was that great, but I saw the headlines, people being ecstatic to call him up to the main roster as soon as possible. I don't see somebody winning the Royal Rumble in their call-up match. Now, we have seen, Finn Balor beat Roman Reigns on his debut on Monday Night Raw. Stephanie Vakir qualified for Money in the Bank in her debut on Monday Night Raw. Stuff happens. I don't think people win the Royal Rumble. We just went through last year, people thinking that, Jey Uso was one of the worst Rumble picks of all time. Just think about all of the fringe wrestling fans that come to watch wrestling from January until April who don't watch NXT. They don't do the takeovers anymore because they always sort of call them old school WWF Halloween Havocs and stuff like that. They're not going to know who he is. They're going to think that wrestling has completely jump the shark and it is done if somebody does it like that. Maybe he's in the final four, maybe it's something like that, but I don't see him winning it. Javon Evans, my biggest hope for him is that he's able to use his high flying stuff to be like the new Kofi Kingston. Last year, Kofi didn't get his annual Royal Rumble spot of trying some way to be eliminated but saved. Nothing to me will ever beat when he got eliminated and the No Way Jose party caught him and threw him back in. Why the No Way Jose party would help a member of the New Day, Kofi Kingston, there was never a like a match with them together, showing them as a team. Maybe there's always down for a party. There was never ever a payoff to it. It was just a cool spot for me to be there. Now, when I lump in the Vision, who were all granted into there, they had a backstage, get together where Logan Paul broke the ice. You can tell that locker room. Nobody really wants to say anything. In my opinion, every single member of the Vision thinks that they deserve to be the main event. They need to be, the guy going against CM Punk. I think everybody in here thinks that they have a shot to win the Royal Rumble. But Logan Paul stood up and he was like, "We need to come up with a plan. There's four of us. There's more of us than there are them. There's a few groups in there that'll be together. You're guessing that Penta, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, that they'll probably hang out together as much as they can. But still, it's a 4-on-3 affair. Even who's gonna be trusting them to be able to go? But who's not gonna trust Rey Mysterio? I mean, Rey Mysterio comes over here and asks to borrow $5. I'm gonna give it to him because I think Ray's the kind of guy who's gonna come back with 10 and give it to me the next day. But Logan Paul said we all need to work together to make sure that Braun Breaker wins this deal. And Bronson Reed immediately was like, "Yes, that's the plan." You can tell that Bronson is not going to go along with that plan if there's any chance. We're going to see, Shawn Michaels running over across the ring to help out 10 guys eliminate Diesel and trying to make it look like he's trying to make the save. If anybody can bump anybody, I think we're going to see it. I think if anybody is going to get caught in this ordeal, it's going to be Logan Paul, especially with the fact that it wasn't Paul Heyman's plan. It was his plan. And if he gets caught trying to eliminate Bronson Reed or Braun Breaker when there's some sort of like a big like tie up, in the corner or on the ropes trying to dump somebody over the top, that's freaking going to be awesome. Penta, big name in WWE. You can tell that he has a big future. He reminds me a lot of the push to the Royal Rumble, like Shinsuke Nakamura when he won it. I think that was 2016. No, maybe it was 17 because it did take him a minute to get to the main roster. 2016, he debuted at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas on the NXT takeover against Sami Zayn. So I think it would be the next January that he won the Rumble to go against AJ. Maybe that was even 2 years because I think that was WrestleMania 34. But that's what it kind of reminds me of. I just don't think that Penta's going to do it. One day I think that he's going to be a main event guy in WWE, but I'm really not sure that we're quite there. He's second banana in this group. Rey Mysterio is the main guy every single time this group runs down to the ring. He's the one that they're trying to make look good of all this. Jey Uso, winner last year, but like I said, on Monday Night Raw, he didn't even bring up the Rumble. He was just there to show off that the Usos were the tag champions, even though Jimmy Uso wasn't on the show. I don't know what's going on with that. It's been 2 weeks. I'm hoping everything is all right with Naomi. I'm hoping he didn't have to fly home for something with the pregnancy or something like that. In my mind, I don't really remember when it was that she announced, but maybe the baby's coming sooner than later. and that's why he's home. But it's kind of funny that they would put him on Raw. I was well, if they know that he's going to be having the baby soon, it's kind of funny that they put the tag titles on them. And then it's also more funny that he came out and said that the Usos were looking for an open challenge, and it's been 3 weeks, and they haven't even had a championship match yet. At least we got number one contenders with Otis and Tozawa coming out of this. But if you really think about it, they just bide time because 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, Tozawa and Otis asked for title matches, and he wouldn't give it to him. He thought that they were joking because he didn't think that they were even on his level. So I don't really know where we're going with the Usos right now, but Jay's not repeating from here on out. Gunther is on the list of people to go in the Royal Rumble. He announced that he was going to be in the Royal Rumble. He said he wanted to put all of his attention on winning the Rumble. And then he was interrupted by AJ Styles. I wasn't quite sure if he was going to work double duty. Gunther retired Goldberg back in July. Goldberg retired John Cena in December. Gunther is going to retire AJ Styles in the main event of this show. This is definitely, in my mind, bigger than Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. This is the pushing of all pushes. This is the story of all stories. Gunther is going to be the biggest heel. He hasn't had the World Heavyweight Championship since WrestleMania when he lost it. No, wait a minute. He did, because he ended up beating... Okay, he lost the championship at WrestleMania to Jey Uso. He won the belt back from Jey Uso the night after Money in the Bank. He held it until losing to CM Punk. So he hasn't had the championship since SummerSlam of last year. I don't know what the longest time that Gunther has not had a championship in WWE, but we have to be getting close to it now. I didn't want to name it right off of the bat, but I think Gunther is one of the biggest names to win this match. I got another name that I'm picking, but I think Gunther is definitely my number 2. The last 2 names are the biggest names in WWE. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are going to be in the Rumble match. Cody has won the 2 Rumbles before last. Cody was a champion last year, so he couldn't be in the Rumble because he ended up fighting the winner of the Elimination Chamber, John Cena, at WrestleMania. So you don't need to be in the Rumble if you're a champion. It's not like you're going to be going to WrestleMania to fight the other champion. They've done champion versus champion, time after time at WrestleMania, but wasn't what they needed to do. So he wasn't in it. The only competitors in WWE that have won 3 Royal Rumbles, I'm pretty damn sure, is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Cody Rhodes is a big star. Cody Rhodes is debatably the day in and day out biggest star that WWE has. If it's not him, it's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns shows up, works the PLE. You don't see him for 2 months. He shows up a day, sets up a match. He's gone for 3 more. Let's just face it. I don't know what he's doing. He did the Street Fighter movie. He made Hobbs and Shaw. I don't know if he's trying to get into more movies. He's just not landing roles. I don't know if he's in movies that are so small WWE doesn't want to talk about it. But Roman Reigns just isn't around. I understand they tried to make him feel special by only putting him in big matches and big spotlight at times. You don't see him just walk out on SmackDown and, have a match against we've been picking on Tozawa the whole day. We don't see Roman Reigns just beating up Tozawa on a week in and week out basis. They're not going to put Roman Reigns against Dragon Lee and think that we're going to care about it. You only see Roman Reigns wrestle main event matches because his character is about making money, and that's about it. But the fact that I'm getting to, Cody Rhodes ain't Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's just flat out the only way to do it. Cody Rhodes might win another Rumble in his career. It just ain't going to be this Royal Rumble. I think that what we're setting up is Cody and Roman. I read the headlines. I saw the headlines. The people who say that, WrestleMania changed plans, and yeah, they were thinking about doing Roman versus Cody this year. You don't have another match as big as Roman versus Cody. You put Roman against anybody else in WWE, I'm not going to care. You put Cody against some other people, it's just not going to be as big. And if you think about the last two, no, did they do it last year? Okay, the 2 Royal Rumbles that Cody Rhodes won. Oh, I think they did do it last year. But they end the Monday Night Raw with Cody Rhodes and CM Punk going back and forth, trying to set up that Cody versus CM Punk is a WrestleMania style match. I think that is. They didn't do it this year. They're 2 baby faces on 2 different shows. I think they think that is a really big match, but they don't have anything as big as Roman versus Cody. I think we're building to that at WrestleMania. They know that it doesn't need a championship. You can keep your title on Drew. You can keep your title on Punk. You can build storylines that have big matches, and you got your main event. You got your hook. That's what you're going to get them. Will people go to Vegas to see Roman versus Cody 3? Cody had Roman beat. Solo Sikoa came out at WrestleMania 39. Then at WrestleMania 40, they were wrestling. Freaking Solo came out. Cena came out. The Rock came out. Undertaker came out. John Cena gets the win. What would happen at WrestleMania 42 if Roman and Cody fought and nobody came out? Let's face it. Who's going to be the friend that comes out? Roman ain't got no friends. They might have enemies that come out to beat them up, but no one's coming out to make sure that they get the win. This is going to be a true one-on-one affair. I think it's a WrestleMania main event. I'm not hanging on the fence saying that I want to go to WrestleMania. I've had my good buddy Isaac. He's almost had me on the ropes a couple of times. I just keep thinking about it. He's got a really nice place to stay at the Luxor. I think it's $500 for the week. He's got 2 really good tickets. One of them he's trying to give to me. I can't remember what the price was, but it's pretty affordable. And I think it's kind of what I paid last year. And it's a better seat than what I had. But I just keep thinking, like, what am I going to do all week? Last year, I met everybody at WrestleCon. They named Jack Swagger for WrestleCon. I want to see that. I want to meet him. But I dropped a lot of money when I went to WrestleCon. Go check out those videos. I met like every single wrestler that there was there. I put up that the review of the cards that came back from PSA to get those cards authenticated from the Hall of Famers. There was a lot of them. There was like 22 plus cards that I got signed. Do the math on that. It costs like at least $40 to $60, sometimes even $100 to meet those guys. So I don't want to put the number out there, but I didn't come back with much cash. So let's just tell you that. So when I think about what's going on in WWE, especially when I talk about the Drew McIntyre match in the last video there, I think the winner of the Royal Rumble hasn't even been named. I talked about with the women's match, if I was to walk in to the Westgate and go to the sports book and make a bet, I would put my money on Liv Morgan to win the Rumble this year. If I was to walk into the Westgate, the money that I would put down on is on Jacob Fatu. I think Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre is the biggest match that you can have for the undisputed WWE Championship. You've got the storyline that was built in just a few months ago when Jacob and Drew were going to fight for the #1 contendership. Now, Drew has beat Cody. He has the championship. Jacob's coming, wants to beat up the guy that took his championship shot away. And at the same time, he kicked his teeth in, so he gets to take this guy's title away while he tries to kick out Drew's teeth from his mouth and leaves him laying at WrestleMania. Jacob Fatu has taken wrestling by storm since he's been there. I think WWE would love to put a crown on this guy and see if he can, hold the championship. What a rise that he's had. They basically sign him from the Indies. He doesn't have to go to NXT. They put him right with Solo Sikoa. And I'm a Solo Sikoa fan, but he outshined him to the point that he just left the group, went off on his own. He beat Solo in a steel cage match at SummerSlam and just left those MFTs in their dust. Jacob Fatu is my pick. If I was to put any money down to try to cover my bet, I'd put it on Gunther. I think that honestly, Jacob Fatu and Gunther are the easy bets for the Royal Rumble this year. Anybody else, I can understand if you want to put some money on Roman. I understand if you want to put some money on Cody. Roman and Cody are going to fight at WrestleMania. Neither one have championships. If they win the Rumble, they screw that up. You have your main event without the championship, and just whatever happens is the best guy. That's the way that it's going to go down. I think that I'm not 100% sure, but maybe Brock versus Roman at a WrestleMania was one of those non-champion. I'd have to look it up, and I don't even really know how to start. But yeah, Jacob Fatu to win the whole big deal. When you go to the main event, it's very weird that you're not talking about the Royal Rumble as one of the big matches of the night. A few times the Royal Rumble. Well, when the Royal Rumble was created back in 1988, and it was a USA special, the Royal Rumble didn't even main event that show. And it wasn't Hogan versus Andre, who had a contract signing for WrestleMania. That wasn't even the main event either. It was just a normal tag team match with 4 dudes in it. And I think they just wrestled up until like they ran out of time, and they were like, just get the pinfall and get out of there. Because it was a special to build up WrestleMania, and that was the meaning of the Royal Rumble. It wasn't supposed to take off and become its own pay-per-view, or Big John Studd won one, Hulk Hogan won 2, Ric Flair won 1, Yokozuna won the next, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I might have skipped somebody, but I think that's as far as I can go without getting tangled up. Maybe if I was writing them down, I'd be able to do them, but just off the top of my head like that screws me. But we have AJ Styles going up against Gunther. Gunther wanted to put everything on the line to win the Royal Rumble, to go to WrestleMania, be the main event guy, and crush somebody's dream and take their championship away. The only problem is that AJ Styles wrestled Gunther on Monday Night Raw and feels like that he beat Gunther inside of the ring. It was a respect match. They were, trying to avenge the loss of John Cena. AJ Styles didn't like some of the things that Gunther was saying, that he tapped him out like a bitch, so on and so forth. But Gunther outsmarted AJ. AJ admits that, I might have beat you, but you got your hands raised. So, I need to go out there and I need to avenge myself, and I need to get my win back. We all saw what Shinsuke Nakamura put up on Instagram. And I understand that wrestling isn't what wrestling once was, but that looked to be a huge mistake. Basically, Nakamura put up like an open letter to AJ Styles, thanking him for the match on Saturday night's main event. It was one of the best matches that Nakamura has had inside of WWE, and it relives a rivalry from those guys wrestling in New Japan. I'm sorry, New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom 9. Um, that was one of my first experiences with my friends getting on Skype, watching New Japan. Those shows, I think on the West Coast, start at 11 p.m. That match was probably on TV at 3 a.m. my time. So you know how delirious you are when you're watching those. But he talked about, going to AJ and seeing if he was really retiring. And AJ said that he had his mind made up that he was leaving at the Royal Rumble. We've all seen the headlines that says that AJ Styles, his contract is only 7 days away. I don't know if WWE was trying to make us believe and trying to build us on AJ's not leaving, but AJ's promo at the beginning of the show on Raw of hoping that 2026 is a phenomenal year for him. He has dreams of being a world heavyweight champion. And then of course that brought out CM Punk, and we have Punk versus AJ on the show. We also have Javon Evans coming up to AJ saying that he hopes that they get to, have a match in WWE. And then people are even breaking down AJ's promo on Twitter, basically saying that it's the end of his WWE career, leaving the door open for him to leave WWE, retire, and then go wrestle in AEW. And maybe this is the big storyline, much like they gave Edge the big goodbye on SmackDown when they were in Toronto, and that left the door open for him to go there. I don't know, man. When I listen to Machine Gun Radio, Machine Gun Carl Anderson, he's one of my favorite guys in the wrestling business. I loved the Good Brothers. Talking Shop was one of the best wrestling podcast there was going on out there, even if it's not 100% about wrestling. When they were over in Japan years back, it was just about them drinking, and they talked a lot about their experiences in Japan and what was going on. It used to only be a half-hour show, so they didn't really get a lot out back in the day. But I don't know, when I hear him talk about AJ Styles and what is open for AJ in the foreseeable future of, I think that AJ has a good chance, if his WWE contract truly is ending, to be the main event guy at WrestleCon this year. Whether if he got brought in, if he signs up to, be his own table guy, or if he comes in as like a high spots feature wrestler, and they paid him to come in and sold tickets to get there. I think his takeaway would be huge. Normally the bigger wrestlers that know there's going to be a line, they normally buy their own table. Like Cardona says, you buy in, you believe in yourself, and know that you're going to make the money back for whatever the table's going to be. And some of the mid guys or some of the older guys get brought in by vendors, and the vendor just hopes that they can make money on it. Some of the guys, when you go to WrestleCon, you'll understand, like, you don't really know what they're doing there, but it is one of the biggest meetups where fans all have money stashed in their pocket, and you never know if that one guy made you laugh on SmackDown one time and you want to get a picture with them, and maybe that all adds up at the end of the day if it's so many people. But AJ had me believing that maybe I was wrong on Raw, thinking that like maybe this isn't coming to an end. Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura's post on Instagram was a hack or something like that, and maybe it's not all over. Maybe AJ and WWE came to a deal where he's going to wrestle for a few more months and go out on his own terms, so we can see AJ Styles against Javon Evans. Maybe there's a few other matches in WWE that that he wants to do. Right now, the era that's on Monday Night Raw kind of seems like CM Punk getting to pick. Maybe he's going to Triple H and saying, like, this is a match that I think we can make that's really, really good. And Triple H being like, if you can have a good main event and, we can make a story out of it, let's go. Him versus Finn Balor, him versus AJ Styles. We're living in the era of the dream match. If you go back to that December Monday Night Raw here in Sacramento a couple of years ago with Vince, Stephanie, Shane, and Triple H out there in the middle of the ring saying, like, we're listening to you. We admit to you that we've made mistakes and we're here to fix it. And then they announced like 6 guys coming up from NXT that never freaking came. I know they announced Gargano, Heavy Machinery. I can't remember who the other 3 were on the bottom of the screen, but they came, but they didn't come for a long time. And it was like, dude, you're promising to make it better. You're making promises and you're not even following through with those promises. It didn't really make any sense in the long run. But if you're putting money on the line in this match, you got to bet Gunther. They're building up something huge. They're not going to get, have him get a flat tire in the Royal Rumble on the way to WrestleMania. There's a chance he wins the Rumble. There's a chance. Okay, how about this? If you have Gunther beat Goldberg, Saturday night's main event, I believe it was in July. You have Gunther beat John Cena, Saturday night's main event, December. You have him beat AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble on ESPN. You want to be a Randy Orton fan and have Gunther call out Randy at WrestleMania? You want to have Gunther call out Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Those guys both rookie class of 2002 in WWE. How much longer do you think they're going to be around? You don't think that's a huge name to put on his plaque saying that Gunther retired all of these guys, made them lose in their last match? Gunther's got plans, and they're not all built around being WWE champion. I think that's a little bit of icing on the cake, but him ending careers and being the real life Undertaker that's making guys pack their bag and sending them home, I think that means a lot more to him in the foreseeable future. So I think there's a good chance it's going to be the main event. I'm taking Gunther to win this whole deal. The whole deal with Punk and Finn Balor, I'm not really quite sure what they're doing. I think they're building up towards a Monday Night Raw. Like I said earlier, that's pretty smart. For Balor, it sucks that he's not in the Rumble, but if the goal is to be champion, you don't get to sell a few of the WrestleMania shirts. Well, then again, if Balor wins it at Raw, whether if it's on the 2nd or if it's on the 9th of February, if they have that match against Punk, he's going to be the champion come WrestleMania more than likely anyways. So he just cuts in line. I think I kind of skipped him over, but Aries threw out there Braun Breaker as his pick. Braun Breaker is my future pick. I think if I'm picking Jacob Fatu to win the Rumble, that means he would go against Drew, which opens up the Elimination Chamber would be for the Monday Night Raw Championship. So I think that's how Braun Breaker could win the chamber. I understand that more than likely, if Braun is in the chamber, Bronson Reed will be in there with him. So that's, fuel to add to watching the Rumble to see how they interact, to see if Bronson really is on Braun's team. But besides for that, at this point, you should have Penta in there, maybe Rey Mysterio. you know, I don't think you put Logan Paul or Austin Aries in there. I'm looking for Logan Paul and Austin Aries more than likely to get into this open um look for the tag titles against the Usos, whether that's going to be like the WrestleMania match or maybe it'll be a match at the Elimination Chamber. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. So, Braun Breaker, I think, is going to have a huge spot in the Rumble itself this year, but I'm picking him to win the Chamber up top. From there, we go to the next one. We'll probably get AAA and TNA superstars. He's right. Let's see Mr. Iguana getting there. But it's kind of weird. They only have 13 names for the Rumble, and there's 17 more spots, and they wouldn't give one to Finn. But then again, I've already got Jacob as my winner, and he's not even on the list yet. We'll go back to Kurt Edwards. I think Finley is in Florida at the Performance Center. That's cool. I mean, he was good. He was good as a wrestler. I'm Finley, and I like to fight. He was even good in his WCW days, if you've been around that long. So do it, man. We love the Mania videos from last year. I'll tell you the truth, man. Like, it's not like I don't have the money, but I spent a lot of money. I think one of my problems was last year I was set on it being my last one. So I wanted to do as much as I could at WrestleMania last year. So even though I had planned on going in a pack of 3 or a pack of 4, I ended up going by myself. I got a cheaper room. I stayed at the Westgate. I think originally we had a room at Harvey's or Harry's. Yeah, Harvey's. No, shoot, it starts with an H. I thought Harris. I think we had a move. I think at Harris, and freaking I-88 Miguel was kind of like on the fence whether if he wanted to go, whether if he didn't. I don't blame him for not going. He wasn't really following the product. When we went to Survivor Series this year, I think that was his first WWE show in 5 years, he said. I have to go back and see it. I think he still watches AEW a lot. I don't think he really follows WWE as much as he once did. A lot of the stuff I was telling him, like, I think they're going to do this. I think they're going to do that. I think he was biting on it. And a lot of the stuff that I come up with in my head is futuristic weird booking that if it came true, it would be fun. But normally I don't get it right for the people that watch a lot of my videos. But, I told him that I was switching the hotel and I was going to a different one because it was like I want to say it was like $500 less dollars. I was using the WrestleCon hotel and using their block of rooms to get one for a lot cheaper, and it really worked out for me. But because of that, I went to WrestleCon. For all 4 days, I met a ton of wrestlers from the top of the card to the bottom of the card. I went to that one dinner at Outback. I think I could do WrestleMania on the cheap if I kind of went to the indie shows. Like I really wanted to go to SmackDown just to see it. I wanted to go to the WrestleCon like show, the actual wrestling show that they do. But I had to pick between that and I might have been on at the same time as the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. And that was one of the, if you go back, that was one of the big things at WrestleMania. That was one of the first things that I was like, I'm doing this. I've listened to this podcast for so many years. It sounds like it's so much fun. So I did a lot of stuff. There's other people that go to WrestleMania. That's tip the hat towards them. I'll tell you the truth. I would love to go again, but I wouldn't want to go to Las Vegas back-to-back years for the one deal of I did almost everything because I went out of my way. The only thing that I didn't do was I went to Fremont Street and I went to Ziggler's comedy show. It was funny. It was good. I got to meet him. There was a part of me that it went so long that I only really stayed because of the meet and greet at the end of the show. I was really hoping that they were going to do it at the beginning of the show when people were filing in. Would have made a lot more sense, and I probably would have left. But it was fun. It is what it is. But I was standing in that parking lot at 3:30 in the morning saying, like, What are you doing? I'm in bed no later than 9 o'clock on a night in night basis. Some nights 6:30. I ain't bragging. 7:30. Football's on. Maybe I might stay up a little bit later, but 9 p.m. is like the latest, other than like if I go to a concert that I can really think of. But it was fun times. So we had a good one, hour and a half almost. That's probably the longest one of these that we've done. There was only 4 matches to really go over. I'm really excited about these. If you didn't watch it from the beginning, I think I think even now you can rewind it and start at the beginning. Or I'll download it, I'll upload it, and then I'll cut it into clips tomorrow. Be up on the Stevie Breach channel. Oh, that was one right there. Okay. All right, we're going again. You got me. Tony Amache, 4797 brought this up. I'll tell you the truth. I've made like 4 videos in a row. Saturday night's main event, Monday Night Raw, Chris Jericho. Since his contract ended in AEW at the end of last month, I think if Jericho was going to stay in AEW, we would have seen him by now. We would have saw him on Dynamite, one of the special Dynamites. Tony Khan would have put him in a bright light, and he would have put him out there in big lights and been like, "Hey, everybody thought he was going back to WWE, but we got him." They haven't done that. I think the reason why they haven't done that is the fact that they don't have him. And I think that he's going back to WWE. I had thought from the very beginning that, they would bring him out at the Royal Rumble and he would be like a big secret surprise. When I went to the Rumble in Phoenix, I'm guessing 2012, 2013, Jericho came out. He wasn't with the company. He wasn't really gone from the company, but he came out number 2. And it was Dolph Ziggler in the ring, and Dolph and Jericho had like a little bit of like unfinished business, and people went bananas. People went crazy for it. Now, if Jericho debuts at the Rumble, I don't think it'll be a big surprise. I think that the secret will be get out. I think they all fly. I think that everybody was in Toronto for Raw, because I think they leave right from Toronto and they fly to Saudi Arabia. They do a lot of like stuff around the town to build up hype for these Saudi Arabia shows, because a big part of WWE going there is the fact that they're trying to show the atmosphere is cool. Like the women are having fun, the women are smiling. The way that people think about, Saudi Arabia isn't really the way that it really is. And what was I getting at? I don't know how you hide Chris Jericho. I understand that WWE has private jets, but you don't really want to fly Chris Jericho in on a normal flight into Saudi Arabia. Even if it is Saudi Arabia, you don't want a picture of Chris Jericho at the baggage claim getting out. That this is going to be one of the biggest Royal Rumble surprises that they've done in a long time. But it's coming. No doubt in my mind. It's just going to be, what creation of Chris Jericho are we going to see? Honestly, in my opinion, if this is going to be the final send-off of Chris Jericho, I don't know how long he's going to do this. His age is up there, but when he's in the right state of mind, when he's getting something that he believes in, we've seen Jericho change shapes. We've seen him in shape, out of shape, in the best shape of his life when he was in AEW. At times when it seemed like he was phoning it in, he was doing what he was doing. But what I think for one of the best storylines, whether if he's going to be from now until WrestleMania, whether if he's going to be now to SummerSlam, if they're going to run it for as long as they can before it falls off the bricks, I think it would be cool if we see all of the incarnations of Chris Jericho. He starts, I don't know if he can still do the ponytail. I'm trying to think of what his hair looked like the last time we saw him in AEW. If he can do the thing when his hair is coming off like this and he's making the stupid funny faces. But if we can see Jericho in this last, I'll call it year, if this is the goodbye of Chris Jericho, if we can see him slowly fade and go through all of the greatest hits, whether if it's Y2J, I want to see the Painmaker, I want to see the highlight reel, and all of the nicknames that he had, the 2009 when he was the best superstar that they had in WWE because he was the only guy. He would wrestle on Monday Night Raw in a tag team with the Big Show. He would wrestle on SmackDown as a main event singles guy. He was the only guy doing both shows. I don't even remember if it was because he won the tag titles that he got the shirt showing up. I think it was him and Edge. Edge got injured and got replaced by Big Show. But yeah, he was awesome by far. Jericho, if I had to go into the Westgate and place a bet, I think Jericho's debut is going to be at the Rumble. I think as a reminder, before we leave, we're closing it out here. Saturday, I think the show starts at 11. Make sure you go out of your way and make sure you don't miss the beginning of the Rumble. It's definitely going to be earlier than you're used to because it's going to be live from Saudi Arabia. I'm even wondering like what time the pre-show starts. I know that I don't need a 3-hour pre-show, but I'm kind of thinking I want to be in front of the TV at 10 a.m. to make sure I see what's going down. But peace out, everybody. Super shout outs, freaking Yai88. Make sure you go out of your way to watch Assault and Battery 777's video from yesterday. Shout out to my buddy Mike. He has a video. He's not using the HBK Fan 25. He's using a different one. But he started a podcast with him and his buddy Joe talking about sports cards, not all wrestling cards. He talked about football, talked about baseball, whatever cards he can get his hands on. I think it's called State of the Hobby. If you go look for State of the Hobby on YouTube, you should be able to find the video. I told him that I don't want to miss anymore, so text me when it's put up, and I'll tweet them out. But thank you very much. Somebody lost me. The Tony Nachi guy comments over in the chat there about Jojo Siwa. Jojo Siwa was one of my kids' like favorite entertainers, singers, actors, YouTube personality back in the day. I don't want to see her showing up on Raw. I know that she's had some ups, she's had some downs. She's trying to stay in the limelight to stay famous as long as she can. Jojo Siwa in WWE, I don't know, man. Maybe it would make them watch a show with me. I doubt it. They haven't talked about her in a long time. But Peyton, my oldest, 4th grade, Jojo Siwa to the moon. She wore Jojo Siwa bows in her hair every day of 4th grade. 5th grade started, bows gone. I think she might still have a collection of them in a box because she doesn't want to throw them away. I think she hears me talking about her. I think I hear her yelling in the other room. But yeah, no more. Jojo Siwa, stay away from WB, please. Oh, Mike's texting me right now. Oh, dang it, what am I doing?